Hey guys! Welcome back to Season 4, Episode 2 of the For the Generation podcast. Welcome back to our returning listeners, and if you're new, welcome to our podcast.
We are your hosts, Alexa Gomez
And Natalia Velasco.
Today we're going to be talking about the transition from high school to college and what to expect.
So Alexa, how did you decide which colleges to apply to? Like, how was that process before applying?
Well, I've started off junior year. Luckily with my high school, we were actually able to come down to LA and tour some schools. We toured LMU, USC, UCLA, a bunch of other ones. And like that really helped me to figure out, do I actually see myself on campus, on that campus? Like there were some schools that I definitely knew I didn't want to go to just because they were too big. And then others I was like, no, I actually really like that. So that helped junior year. And then senior year is when I actually kind of decided which ones I applied to. And yeah, what did you do?
I kind of had a different experience. I didn't visit many of the schools I applied to because, number one, COVID started in the middle of our junior year. Mm-hmm. So that really hindered like the visiting process for me. But I knew that I either wanted to stay in SoCal specifically or go to the East Coast. Very different things. Two very different things. Yeah. So that's kind of how I went by applying. I also had a cousin that went to Notre Dame, which is in South Bend, Indiana, and we went to his graduation when I was 13. So that was one of the schools that I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna apply. It's so pretty there.
Didn't Biden talk at that?
Yeah. Fun fact. On my 13th birthday, I saw current President Joe Biden speak at my cousin's graduation.
It's crazy.
Like, yeah, like live in person. Like I saw the man, which is crazy. Quite the 13th birthday, if I do say so myself. But yeah, that's how I chose. But I ultimately only ended up applying to one school in the East Coast because I was really drained after applying to all the California schools. But yeah, that's kind of how I chose.
Yeah. I feel like it's pretty normal because I remember as when I was younger, I was always like, I'm going to stay home. And I actually ended up applying more to like LA area schools. And now I'm here in LA.
She's from the Bay, if you didn't know. That's why, like,
I'm sorry.
Being in LA is, like, far away. No, I know, but for the people.
I know, but I said it in the last episode, so
yeah.
You should know this.
You should know this, guys. Come on. Oh, I also really thought about the weather after, which is, I think, the reason why I didn't really apply to the East Coast. Because I, like, if I don't see the sun, I get really, like, my mental health declines like significantly. So I think weather is something people don't think about.
Oh yeah.
Because I was like, oh my gosh, I want to go to New York so bad. Like it's beautiful there. I love it. I've visited multiple times. I love New York. But I could not handle the cold. Like I would be such a mess. And college is hard as it is. I feel like you have to be really comfortable in your environment because if not, it's like super hard.
100%. I agree because I applied to a school in Seattle and I actually went to visit it and I just didn't like the weather. It was like gloomy the whole time. So it looked like it was gonna rain.
Yeah.
And it's just like draining just being out there. Like
it's
you need
like
sun.
Sad. Like it's great.
No shade to Seattle.
No shade.
Or
Seattle
New York.
Or New York. I love New York.
So how was the application process for you?
So basically I started off pretty early, I feel, like compared to most people I know. I started looking at it like as soon as I started school, which is like late August, early September, just because I'm a huge procrastinator. And so me and my mom were like, okay, we need to like jump on this ASAP because I really didn't want to like be late. Senior year was already super stressful for me. So like college applications on top of everything was insane. Shout out to all the seniors who are hearing from colleges right now. That's crazy. Good luck to everyone because I know that's a very scary process. Yeah. But yeah, I started pretty early and I like had a schedule that I would follow. And I did my, oh my gosh, which ones did I do first? I think I did my Cal State applications first Just because that one was way easier than the UC.
So I didn't have any writing,
No,
so it was just like putting your information
so
in.
I think that was the first one I submitted, I want to say. Or it might have. Yeah, I think so. And then I did my Common App ones.
When did you write your Common App essay? The like main one.
I want to say like September. I did it really early because, again, I'm a big procrastinator, so I like planned ahead. Yeah, and then I got it edited by like some of my tias and like my mom's friends that we knew. So I had to get it done early to send it out to them, you know, to give them time.
Yeah.
But what's it called? And then I applied to the UCs, which I think was my last one that I did. I did all of my UC essays in one day. Like on a Sunday, I did all of them.
Damn.
Which was horrible. I don't recommend it, but I got it done. So yeah, I only ended up applying to California schools and one East Coast school, which was in New York. But yeah, the application process was super stressful. But I ultimately got everything in really early. Like, I was done with my applications by Thanksgiving, I think. And all of my friends were like super stressed, and I was like, I'm done. I'm not applying to any more. I had so many more on my list, but I was so burnt out at that point. I was like, yeah, that's good. Whatever. But yeah. What about you?
For me, I started also, I think like August maybe, writing my Common App essay. We had like a workshop before senior year started, like the whole senior. So we worked on our like main Common App essay, which was super helpful, even though I didn't finish my Common App essay until October, which was my first. I
thought you were going to say I never finished my Common App essay. I was like, that's kind of awkward.
No, I didn't finish the like main essay until October, when my first schools were what is it called?
When they were
due. When my first schools were due. The first applications were due. LMU was one of my first ones. I actually got in early action.
Me too.
Fun fact. No way.
Fact, we both got in early action.
So I got into LMU early, and other schools. I also like, what was super helpful was that I had them all on a doc. So because some of the questions were very similar, and so you could just copy and paste or like rearrange it. So I had them like organized by what date they were due, and when I would finish the top one, I would add it all the way to the bottom. So like copy and paste it, and it was super easy and helpful.
I had a Google sheet.
A Google sheet with your essays?
No, not with my essays. With like all the colleges.
Oh, okay.
Not with my essays. Jesus Christ, I have a huge Google sheet.
I was a little confused.
Oh my gosh, I actually had an issue with my LMU application. Like after I submitted
your issue?
They were like, "Oh, we never got your essay," and I was like, "I turned everything in." Like I was like freaking out.
The school essay,
like the LMU essays. They were like, "Oh, we didn't get it," and I was like, "Oh, like I turned it in. Like I triple checked everything, you know."
That's really weird.
And so I sent it in to like admissions, and they like put it like into my stuff. But I was freaking out. Like I was like,
how do you? I feel like that's that doesn't make sense, because I feel like if you don't put something in, it'll like warn you. Yeah.
It doesn't let you turn it in. So I was super confused, but I think it was something on their end. I'm not 100% sure, but that was the most stressed out I ever been. Cannot talk. I've ever been, because LMU was my most realistic choice for me on my top 3 of choices for college.
It was like my top 2, actually.
Really?
Well, I didn't really know that I wanted to come here, just because my sister came here. Hi, Ruth.
Hi, Ruth.
And so I didn't really know if I wanted to come here, but as I went on the tours my junior year, I actually really liked it. So I was like, you know what? It's worth it. And then as the application process, and I was like, you know what? This is a good idea.
Yeah, it was my 3rd on my top 3. But my top 2 were USC and UCLA.
My top 1 was USC.
Yeah. You'll hear that a lot with LMU students. USC, man. Next topic.
Next question.
Anyways, yeah, so how did you end up making your final decision to come here? Or like, how did you decide to not go to the other schools?
Well, I already, like, as I was receiving my acceptance, I was like, I definitely don't see myself, because some schools are just backup schools, and I think that's like, you have to have backup schools. Also, financial aid was a huge thing. Like, I didn't decide I was coming into LMU until the week, the committed, what is that day called? Commitment day. Is it? I feel 1st. Like commitment day is more like sports though. No. Yes.
Yeah, but it's called that for
really
choosing your college.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, choosing day,
Commitment
day. Yeah, so it came down to the financial aid. I didn't decide where I was going until the week of, just because I was stressed. Like, I was considering other schools because the aid was better, but then I went to go tour them and I didn't really like them. So I appealed. I also did a bunch of outside scholarships that actually helped me pay for LMU, which is good, and I highly recommend. You can use your essays that you used to apply to schools for those scholarships. So it's super helpful to have that Google Doc.
Yeah, I didn't really apply to any outside scholarships. I think I applied to like 1 or 2. That's definitely something I wish I did more though, because I did get a scholarship from LMU, but like it would have been nice to get a little more aid.
How did you decide on coming to LMU?
So the other schools that I got into were kind of like my backup options.
Mm-hmm.
So LMU was already towards the top of my list, but I had never actually come to campus because of COVID. So I went on a driving tour, which was pretty cool. I came with my family, drove around. LMU is not far from where I live. Well, not that far. It's like an hour-ish, depending on traffic. LAX traffic is crazy. But yeah, we looked around, obviously, the campus. I love the campus. It's beautiful. I wanted to stay in LA for college. Like, that was kind of my goal, just, like, to be in LA. So LMU was, like, perfect because of that. And I also, their programs for psych and poli-sci are really good, and that's what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And the connection with Loyola Law School, which is a really good law school, connected to LMU. And that was what I wanted to do, so, yeah. I don't know if this, like, played that much of a role in my decision, but I went to a Catholic high school, and LMU is Catholic, so it was kind of funny. Like, I was continuing my Catholic education. I don't think that was too big in my decision, but I also am pretty family-oriented, and I like to see my family, so I thought it was cool. I could just drive back home whenever I want. Oh, also, I was able to bring my car. And I just got my license. I had just got my license like July of summer after senior year. So I was like, oh my gosh, I can bring my car. I think that's a big thing too, because like some colleges you can't bring your cars like freshman year, and I've heard like that's hard transportation wise. Like a lot of people don't think about that either. What do you think about that?
Well, I'm not from here, and I don't know how to drive.
That's okay.
But parking is super expensive at some schools.
Yeah.
Here.
And a lot of schools don't let freshmen take cars at all.
It's probably due to like parking, because even our parking is always super full.
Yeah. But what's it called? Yeah, I feel like LMU is kind of a place where you kind of have to have your car, because some colleges are like right next to the grocery store. Like you could walk to go get food.
Or they have like Targets or Trader Joe's on their campus.
You know who you are. But yeah, I feel like LMU, you kind of have to have access to transportation in some way, because we also are like on a hill, like the Bluff.
I mean, you don't have to. There's shuttles you can take.
But
Lion Express.
You should have access to transportation.
Just trying to appeal to people who don't have cars.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like you should, like LMU provides transportation, and I think compared to other colleges, you do need at least a little bit of form of transportation here, which is like nice. Like Alexa was saying, there's a shuttle that takes you down to like where we go grocery shopping usually. We have restaurants there, and then the Lion Express you can order to the mall, which there's a bunch of stuff at the mall. It's kind of like an Uber. And you can also take it to LAX. I haven't done that, but I've tried the mall. I think those are the places that the Lion Express takes you to. So take that into account, transportation. and
Also,
if you
like,
don't have access.
well, for me, it was like I know LA is not too far nor too close from home, so it like gives me that balance of like being able to be independent, but also like being able to go home. Like for the first semester, I went home every month,
Yeah.
which is pretty nice. Like being able to go home, eat some good food, be with my family. Then also like being far is kind of nice.
I feel like it also, even though I'm much closer to home, I feel like it did give me a sense of independence because when I was younger, I was like, I'm living at home. Like, I don't want to leave. But once I started getting older, in high school specifically, I was like, actually, maybe I do want a dorm. And I feel like that really allows you to be independent and gives you, like, I guess, like places, like a place to grow, because if you're living at home, like you still get food from your mom like helps, whatever you, like however you live at home, it's gonna stay the same. But like here you kind of have to learn how to, like,
when are you eating,
I have to feed myself, I have to do my laundry, I should wake up to my alarms. That's something that I struggled with a lot.
Clean your room.
Yeah. What else? Did you watch any, like, day in the life videos for LMU students or anything?
I actually didn't, but you know what I would watch a lot? The decision videos.
Oh yeah, like when they're like, I'm choosing between this school and this school.
It would always be at night too. I'd be like stressed, and I'm like, I need to feel, like I need to feel some excitement. So I would watch videos of people getting accepted.
Yeah, I didn't really watch too many either. I knew, did I know anyone coming in? I knew, like, I think it was like, maybe like someone's cousin or something. A lot of people that I knew were like, oh my gosh, my mom went to LMU. Or like,
really?
My aunt went to LMU. So many random people that I wouldn't really talk to in my everyday life. But once I was like, I'm going to LMU, they were like, oh my god, my mom loved it there. And I was like, that's crazy.
Did you do, well, like, since we, like, our application process was all during COVID or like the beginning, did you attend any Zoom info sessions that like helped you with your decision? Or
no, I was once I found out about all the schools I applied to, I was pretty set on LMU. Like, it wasn't really like a decision type. Well, obviously it was a decision, but it wasn't like, oh, should I go there? Like, it was like, I'm going there.
Yeah.
So I didn't really need much to persuade me, I feel.
Well, like, now for these seniors, well, they can tour now because there's a bunch of people touring.
Come tour, it's beautiful.
I see a bunch of people.
Come say hi.
Like lines of people like walking around, and I'm like, whoa, tours. But I'm pretty sure there probably is still like Zoom sessions, just because.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because like
it's not that
state, stuff like that.
So I attended some Zoom sessions, and they were pretty helpful, like knowing the application process or like what exactly they're looking for, or even just to learn more about the school. So that was helpful too in helping me. Well, this goes more for like learning what schools to apply to.
Yeah.
But yeah, recommend Zoom sessions.
Yeah, that's super smart. I highly recommend touring, even though I wasn't really able to do that. I feel like that's the one thing that would have enhanced my application process, you know, because I think location is a much bigger factor than people realize.
Yeah.
And weather and stuff like that. Because, like, if you go to a school and you don't like the vibe, and you're going to stay there every day for the next 4 years, like, you should like where you're going to school. So I feel like, I don't know, that was big for me just because I'm a very, like...
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Because I don't know, what if you, like to be surrounded by different things and you end up choosing a school that there's, like, nothing there. Like, you have to, like, travel. Yeah. You have to travel, like, 40 minutes to the closest store.
And if you don't have a car or, like
how do you do that?
Transportation provided, that's super hard. Like,
airports, too. Like, LMU's, like, 10 minutes away from the airport.
Not even. It's, like, 2 minutes.
Well, with traffic, 10 minutes.
Down the hill. Up the... up the hill.
But yeah, that's also a thing. Like, I can just Uber there, versus if you're like in the middle of nowhere, how much are you gonna pay?
Like an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. That also is like if you're going far away.
Yeah.
Just depends on your preferences, honestly. So, did any of your high school friends like influence your decision? I've heard a lot of people like say like, oh well, my friends applied there, so I applied there. Did that happen with you?
That did not happen to me. I kind of like knew like I was gonna go on my own. Like I wasn't gonna follow what other people are doing. What about you? I don't know.
Not really, but my friends and I did apply to a lot of similar schools just because we had like similar preferences. A couple of my friends did say in SoCal, which was not like, it wasn't like, oh, we're all gonna stay here. Because I do have like a friend in Louisiana, a lot of people with like all over the place. But I do think it's cool that we ended up, like some of us ended up around each other. Just because it was more like luck of the draw type thing. Like, we didn't plan it. But yeah, no, I don't think anyone really influenced my decision as to where I was going.
Yeah.
Maybe like, oh, I heard this school has a really good program. You should look into
Yeah, that makes sense.
It wasn't like
you have to go there.
I'm applying here because so and so is.
Yeah.
You know, it was more like, oh, we're studying the same major. Like, this has a really good program. You should apply. It wasn't like, come with me. You know, like we all like supported each other, and of course we wanted to go to school near each other because we were all really good friends. But like, it wasn't like be all end all. We have to go to school together. You know, it was just like, oh, it's really cool that we're nearby each other type thing.
Yeah, I feel like another thing that kind of also influences people's final decision on where they go is like high acceptance rates. Like people are like, oh no, that school has an 80% acceptance rate. I don't want to go there because of what other people are gonna think.
Yeah, if it's a good school and you like the school, or even if it's like, if you think that it fits you, go.
It's hard, like when you're in that position, it might be a little hard just to be.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because I definitely found myself in that too.
Me too.
But just high acceptance rates don't mean anything.
It's just wherever you see yourself going, you should go. There's this really nice quote that I like. I couldn't tell you who said it. One of my dear friends, Lauren Gantz, shout out Lauren Gantz, she told me it one time while I was applying to colleges. It's super short, but I really like it. It's just grow where you're planted. And I feel like that really speaks to the college experience, especially because even if you're like high acceptance rates, like that whole thing, even if you're like, oh, like people, like what are people gonna think? You ultimately, it's super cliche, but you're gonna go where you're meant to go. And if you don't like it, you can transfer. Like, it's not like that big of a deal. Like, don't stress it too much because everything happens for
at the end of the day, it's where you're going, not where everyone else is going.
Exactly.
So the higher the acceptance rate, it shouldn't matter.
Not anyone else's. So don't let anyone influence you negatively. Or at all, I guess. Don't let anyone influence your college decision. Except maybe your parents, because...
Just kidding. Playing! Well...
Don't let anyone influence
yes,
your college.
you know what's best for you. Like, I think that also goes with majors. Like, how do you decide what majors? Like, your parents might have...
Oh, yeah.
This... Not personally, I personally chose to. I actually came into LMU as a psych major, but as I was applying, I realized that I want to do sociology, so I actually was able to change my major before I even came to LMU, which was nice. So you know, you can change your majors.
Yeah, I came in as a psych major, but I do have a really big interest and passion for like political science, so I ended up double majoring. So now I'm doing both. I'm studying what I want to study, and LMU is fairly flexible with that kind of stuff. I know tons of people who are like, oh, I'm double majoring. Oh, I'm minoring in this. Like, I feel like a lot of people at LMU are not just doing one singular major. Everyone, like, has a lot of interests that they're exploring in college, which I think that's what it's all about. Like, see what you like, see what you're into, because if not, like, what are you doing?
Yeah. How did you decide on your major?
I was really into my psych class that I took. I also have always had a really big interest in mental health and that scope of things. I also was strongly considering political science because that's one of my passions. Yeah. I've always been really social justice oriented, like, in most aspects of my life. So that those two were like the big, like I was choosing between the two, but ultimately I decided on psych, just because I don't really know why I know why actually. I do know why I chose it. Psych is like something that I felt like I could use pretty broadly in the workspace. Like I could choose whatever I wanted to do because I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. I'm hoping to go to law school, and that's kind of the path that I want to go on as of right now. But I feel like psychology is really broad, and like you're learning about how people think and what affects them. So I feel like that's super broad, and I could use it in whatever field I end up going into.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I ended up choosing that as like the major I applied with. But yeah, what about you?
Well, I chose sociology just because I've always kind of been interested in like criminal justice and stuff. And there's not like a criminology or criminal justice major here, but sociology is more like that. So that's kind of why I also knew I wanted to do sociology. And I ended up also double majoring in Spanish just because I took a Spanish class my first semester, and I feel like it's nice to. I am bilingual, and I feel like having that degree in Spanish is like to be able to show it, and like it'll be helpful when like I'm getting jobs or stuff. The college process is very stressful, and I know like during that time I was really stressed out a lot, and I didn't really know where I was going to end up, but you know, if you could talk to your senior year self, what would you tell yourself?
Like college wise?
Yeah.
I think I would say like not to worry, and it doesn't matter how many schools you get accepted to or not. Like you're gonna end up where like at the school that fits you the best, because I feel like LMU was the best fit for me out of all the schools I applied to. And like not to stress out so much, because I was super stressed about college. So just to like relax and don't be so caught up in the whole college decision process, because it ends up working itself out.
Yeah.
And just enjoy yourself, because it's like the end of your, not the end of your childhood, but like the end of like regular schooling.
Going into the adult life. Yeah.
Like into the real world.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would tell myself too, like everything happens for a reason. You know, that school, maybe you didn't get in for a reason, and now I'm here at a school that wasn't even like my number one, and I'm doing this podcast, so maybe that rejection is redirection.
Okay. Okay. Can't compete where you don't compare.
Mind blown.
Take that as you will.
I mean, getting rejected is pretty sad and hard, and you're like, whoa, I really thought I was gonna end up here.
Yeah, I was a mess when I would get rejected from colleges. Well, like certain colleges I cried a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's okay. Like after the fact, it was like, oh well.
At the end, everything works out.
Yeah, so don't stress so much.
Shout out to everyone getting their acceptance
Shout out
and
to those
rejections.
future lions out there.
Hey, maybe you'll be on the podcast next.
Maybe you'll be someone we interview, or maybe you'll be
take
the
over.
next host. That's crazy. The future hosts could be listening to this podcast.
They're probably listening to this like 4 years later. So we're like seniors.
Oh. So, wrap it up now, right? I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening to episode 2 of season 4 of the For the Generation podcast.
We hope you enjoyed tuning in, and don't forget to follow us on all our social media.
You know where. Instagram, Twitter. But yeah, thank you so much for listening, and we will see you guys next time.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. You're burnt. I was talking to Alexa about how in Harry Potter
You didn't say Harry
Potter. I said, oh, they call Voldemort, they say he who shall not be named. And then Alexa goes, sorry I didn't watch Star Wars.